just go back to Baird as well, Bert. This is probably the string of performances we've all been imagining for a number of years now, and he hasn't really been able to do that on a consistent basis. Does it feel like to you, right, this is happening now? Peter O'Mahony's retired. This
Yeah, I
guy is
do. And to be
ready.
honest, Murray, I was worried because um, even though everybody knows how talented he is, um, he's frustrated a lot of coaches. He's frustrated a lot of coaches with kind of dipping in and out of form, and not being consistent. Like they've all known what he can bring. Obviously, he's an amazing option to have off the bench because he can play second row or back row, and he has that game changing ability with his speed and power. Um, but it just hasn't really happened for him in terms of consistency. And I think it's been, if you look at what he's done so far, we've always kind of maybe overestimate or overweighted the the big moment, and then when you actually look back at the game, there was lots of little things that he just missed or didn't impact in the right possible way. So what I love about the last couple of weeks is there actually hasn't been like an Instagrammable 40-meter run where he's beating people, and it's just literally been consistently good, impactful stuff in small moments, if that makes sense. And it was funny. It was interesting, like what's got in. I don't know. Obviously, you could say he's got game time, but consistent game time. But there's more than that because, like the way he's even spoken, like after he spoke about after the semi final, he kind of said, "Oh, I woke up this morning and I said like I have no choice." It's like he's reached. We've no choice here. I need to do it today. It's like he has maybe reached a point in his career where he realizes that um, all the natural ability he has is amazing and blessed to have it, but it needs to become consistent now. And he's got no divine right to play for Leinster or Ireland if he doesn't perform. And I actually thought against was against the Scarlets. He was trying to take leadership and trying to get people going, and no one else was really reacting. Like Leinster was still a bit hungover that day, or whatever. They hadn't got over the disappointment, but he wasn't. He was focused on impacting the game and making sure that they got through. And yeah, like if he plays like that, like he'll be Ireland's number six. You know what I mean? Like um, and very hard for anyone to get past him. Like he's that much potential when he's on it, and it's just great to see it. And again, he's someone to be honest, more if he had it brought that form 6 months ago, a year ago, he'd be on the trip to Australia. Like he's that gifted. He is that gifted in terms of what he actually has as an athlete. But look, it doesn't matter. Can he bring it out to Ireland and just become that player on a weekly basis? If he can, it'd be very hard to leave him off any team.
He seems to have really kind of found his place in the group, is my impression of it. He's kind of a different character. He's quite
Yeah,
cerebral and there's more to him. He's a little bit different to the other guys in the squad, I would say, and not just purely all about rugby all the time. But he seems to be very comfortable in his skin within that environment now. I'd say it took a while to get to that place. As you say, it seems he's taking more ownership and leadership, and I think it's great that this sounds weird to say. I think it's great that he's not making those big line breaks because he's so focused on
yeah.
the nitty gritty and the stuff that did infuriate coaches when he'd miss a lift or he'd not defend a maul to the maximum of his ability, and he's doing that so consistently. So it's wonderful to see.
So
And now
more
that
just sorry, more just on that, just go back to like he wasn't highly rated in the Leinster Academy. There was like I think coaches could see they saw a lot of the downsides with him, which is maybe lack of focus or drifting out of games or not knowing his detail or whatever. I'm not sure what it was, but he certainly wasn't someone that they were saying to sure Lancaster, he's the next cab off the rank. And there's an anecdote that effectively a second row got injured or whatever and or called in sick, and Leinster were left short in UCD for a session, and Stuart rang down to Donnybrook and said send me up a second row or whatever, and Baird came up, and I think they were playing these fitness games that Stuart liked to play, and I think he made a 60-meter break, and like backs couldn't catch him or whatever. And Stuart was kind of looking at his sheet going, who's this fella? Like he hadn't been the guy that were saying he'd be next guy up. It was a bit of luck And then from then on, he never went back. He was very much part of that. And Stuart was like, "Don't be keeping those free talents from me, even if they have, if they're maybe if there's gaps in their performance, send them up. We'll sort it out. You know what I mean? But since then, he's already had an amazing career. So, like he's achieved way more than I have or lots of other people have already. But I think there's actually way more again now. And if he just whatever mindset and physical place he's in now, he's probably hopefully found what works for him. And as you said, maybe that's been just more comfortable with the group and understanding like he's not going to be the same as everybody else, but he'll bring what he brings. Well, then this could be the turning point of his career, I think.
Ian Aber clearly likes what he can do, and he works well in that system as well. Like he last season, he was excellent, and he's played probably his best rugby under Ian Aber. And I can imagine that Ninaber comes in and thinks exactly the same. Like this guy is a freak athlete. We always make the most of these in South Africa, so let's do it here, and it's working. It's really important that he, Tommy O'Brien, Clarkson, those guys have really driven it. I think over the last few weeks, and that's not to say that. I mean, I thought all the like frontline Ireland internationals were excellent here. Porter was unbelievable, really. Sheen has been brilliant. Conan excellent again. James Ryan, two outstanding performances in a row, and a string of them really. Real string of them. I think he has a big role to play for the Lions, given the form he's in and the focus he's bringing to probably a more refined role and simpler role, I guess, even without the leadership, captaincy kind of stuff weighing on him maybe. But that kind of next crop of players or the next group, guys who we knew were really talented, have kind of really driven things on. I did just want to ask you about Conan, Bert. You mentioned him in your article as skipper and his attitude and even the nod before kickoff. He just looked like he was setting a good tone, I think, for everyone.
I couldn't be more impressed with how he's taken on that sole leadership role because obviously Caelan got injured, so it's clear now that Jack Conan was the captain and how he played, but I also think how he supported the others around him, how he helped get that mindset right. Outstanding. They needed look at it when things are tough and you're being criticised and questioned, and maybe the balloon has burst a little bit in terms of going to win a European Cup. You do need players as well to take the mantle and challenge and make sure everybody's aware of what's in front of them and drive that mindset. So the whole thing about like just even that comment about let's not disappoint them. I mean, I just and hearing behind the scenes, like he has been unbelievably influential over the last 3 or 4 weeks and takes no bullshit either, and not afraid to challenge the coaches, not afraid to challenge other players. But when you play like that as well, and you're as light as he is, because look, he's one of the most experienced Leinster players there. He's been through, winning teams and obviously teams who have failed to get over the line and had to compete with like Heaslip for a long time. He wasn't guaranteed his game, and obviously he's been competing with Caelan Doris now. But yeah, I just so impressed by the way he's managed the whole thing over the last 3 or 4 weeks as well. And he can go to this Lions tour like in big form with good confidence as well.
He's the Lions number 8, really, as things stand. He was excellent last time as number 8, and obviously without Doris there, he's got I mean, there's others who could play 8 in that squad, but he's the out and out number 8. And it's like you think back to the Northampton game, he was on the bench as well. And you think you have Baird as well on the bench, and maybe one of them should be in the starting team, but that's kind of that's in the past now. It was funny what you said there about he's able to challenge people. We got a little insight into that actually post match. Leo Cullen was talking about the younger guys, Fintan Gunn, Tom Clarkson coming through, and he's kind of jokingly said, we got to keep sure these guys are pushing through so people like Jack here beside me don't get too complacent or too comfy. And Conan kind of, you can see he took issue with it. So he jumps in, he goes, oh yeah, I've had a very comfy career, no competition at all. It's been so straightforward for me. That's why I'm still here at 32. I've had an easy ride. And it was almost a bit of a tense moment, but I thought it was a good insight because he, as you say, apparently is someone who's happy to challenge Leo Cullen and the other coaches, and because he wants the best for Leinster, and that's exactly what you want from your leaders. And all the stuff that's at post that Northampton game was, it was an unhappy camp, and it should have been, and they should have been tearing strips off each other, and there should have been falling outs, and there should have been harsh words and arguments in team meetings. I think it would have been scandalous if that wasn't the case, and you need people like Conan who are happy to be part of that. So I think that's a positive thing. But I agree with your view on his form. It's just been excellent for a long time. What a top class player.